How's it going, YouTube? Cody Bernardi here with another YouTube video, and in today's video, we are going to be doing a couple things. We are going to be looking at the T-Mobile hack. We're going straight to the source where it's being sold. So I'll let y'all know, not beating around the bush here. We're just going to look at it. I'll show you where you can take a look at that info and potentially buy it. We're going to be setting up a honeypot on the internet. So we're just going to be listening to how noisy the internet is. So we'll be setting up a Linux honeypot on the internet. And then we're going to be talking about Tracelabs, and then we're going to be talking about the DEFCON 29 experience. I went in person this year, so we're going to be taking a look at this badge, and I'm going to show you how to use Putty to actually connect to your badge. So if you played along at home, there's actually some features about this badge if you haven't figured it out already. Ways that you can actually connect to the badge and change the lights and stuff like that on it. So, yeah. Let's get into it. Okay, so like I said, we are going to be taking a look at the T-Mobile stuff. And contrary to belief, people saying it's being sold on the dark web. No, it's not. It's being sold. It's being sold on the ClearNet, and it's actually very easy to find using Google Dork. So I'm just going to show you real quick where it's being sold. So if you're not familiar with the website raidforums.com, a lot of stuff gets sold here. I'm not endorsing anything that's happening here, so don't get that twisted. I'm just showing you what we got. So I'm gonna try my best to blur out that sample because that is a sample bit of someone's birth date, social security number, full name, where they live, and such like that. And yeah, it's being sold by this person, Subvert, right there. And yeah, I mean, that's just raid forms. So if you wanted to purchase it from them, they have a Telegram link and you can chat with them. So I did mention in my server that I am going to be giving away money in this video, and that is true. Pretty much everything I make off this channel, I just give back, whether it's through donations or giveaways and stuff like that. No sponsors as of yet, so I'll leave some contact information down below. And if you are interested in sponsoring one or some of my videos, shoot me a message down below, and I will only sponsor stuff or have my video sponsored by companies that I actually like. I don't think you could do giveaways with raid forms credits, so it's just going to be either through PayPal, Venmo, Bitcoin, whatever coin you wish to use. I will send you money with the hopes that you will use it on raid forms to purchase some leaks, which you can actually go to databases. So if we go to databases, you can come right here, and you can download pretty much any of these, and they cost some credits, which you could purchase on raid forms themselves. So with that, let's get on to creating a honeypot. Now, I did mention I'm going to be walking you through all of that, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing. So this is my honeypot right here. It is very generic. It is pretty lazily built, and you can make more sophisticated honeypots. But before we get too deep into it, I kind of want to explain what a honeypot is. So the whole goal of what we're building today is to just listen to the internet. And to give you perspective of how loud the internet is, think of like a Tiesto concert in Holland in 2004. It's louder than that. It's insane. So we are just going to be listening to see what people are scanning for on the internet. Try to catch some people trying to do ransomware stuff, and we can actually analyze some malware from those C2 servers just by capturing their HTTP requests and such like that. It's pretty hilarious what people try to do just scanning the internet. We'll take a look at some PCAP files. So with that, what you want is an internet-facing system. So you can use DigitalOcean, AWS. In my case, I'm just going to be using OVH since it's $6 a month for unlimited bandwidth. Can't really beat that. So yeah, just go ahead, create an OVH system or whatever. I'm not going to show you how to do that. It's pretty self-explanatory. So once you log in, which we are going to do right now, and I'm using Putty, which I highly recommend you use if you are on Windows, just because you can store multiple sessions and stuff like that, or Mac, or Linux. You can install Putty on Linux if you want to. It's real nice. I'll show you Putty real quick. So Putty will allow you to save different sessions. So if you have an OVH system, like in my case right here, I have my NAS, I can just click on that and it logs me in. So you can even save passwords and PPK files. So it's like Putty doesn't use PM files for SSH. It uses PPK, so you got to use PuTTyGen, which I'm not going to get into this video. So anyways, we are logged into my system. Great. So what do you do from here? Well, you first want to define what you want your honeypot to do. So in our case, we're just listening, but if you want to actually create like a legitimate honeypot to distract attackers from actually accessing legitimate data on your network, you probably want to be a little bit more thorough than this. Actually, if you want to take a look at a nice framework, MITRE just released the Defend framework. So it's kind of the relative to the MITRE attack framework, but it's for the opposite side of an attack. It's the defend side. So they got a whole thing about honeypots and honey netting, and you'll probably want to get some legitimate systems on that network just to make it look legitimate. But in our case, we're just capturing traffic, so it don't matter. Okay, so first thing that we want to do, we are going to be just running a honeypot that's running Apache, and then we'll probably run some other various services like VNC and such like that. If you want to open up all the ports, go for it. You're going to get clogged up with a ton of files. So so just keep that in mind. So we are going to install Apache, which is very easy. So we're just going to do a sudo apt update and upgrade. So I'll do all that. It's good practice. So apt, after you do an update, upgrade, all that stuff, then we're going to do sudo apt install Apache 2, not 3.2. Since I already have it installed, it's not going to do anything. But once you have Apache installed, all you have to do from here is do sudo service, and you might not have to type in sudo, but I'm just doing that in this case. So sudo service Apache 2 start. Now once you run start, it will open up that port if you're on OVH. So there's no firewall rule you got to change on the OVH console or anything like that. It is on the internet. So if we do ifconfig, which I will forever do, I will never use IP. Don't judge me. So I will copy that. And if I nmap myself, voila, we got port 80 open on the internet. Great. So from there, it's going to give you the default Apache page. So if you're to just do, ifconfig, take your IP address, plug it into your browser, it will give you the default Apache page, which is great and all. But if you want to make it look just a tiny bit more legitimate, we are going to do that. So we are going to edit the index.html file and all that stuff on our system. So first things first, I'm a lazy person. I don't want to create something from scratch, so I'm just going to go on the front-end developers playground, codepen.io. So you can go ahead and create an account, and also if you're interested in front-end development, this place is so good. Side tangent, the malware tech Marcus Hutchins recommends to learning how to code just by taking someone else's code and just plugging around, see what happens. This is a great place. I know HTML, CSS, and JavaScript isn't coding, but just the idea of poking around with someone else's code is amazing. So you come here, create an account, and then you can just do login or, web form, something like that. So I took this one right here. And what you could do is on the very bottom, it says export. You can export it to a zip file. And then once you export it to a zip file, you unzip it and all that. And then you're just going to copy paste the index.html, JavaScript, all that into this directory. So we are going to cd into root, and then we're going to go to, I think it is brain fart. So var www html. So we're going to cd into that directory. We're going to do an ls, and more than likely you're only going to have one file in there, which is going to be index.html. So in that case, that's going to be where the default Debian or Ubuntu or default Apache page is. All you got to do is remove index.html and then go into your favorite text editor, which should be Nano, and you're going to nano into index.html and copy all of that code in there. Now, keep in mind, since you are in this directory, you're going to need sudo privileges. So if you do a command, you forgot to type in sudo, just type in sudo space 2 exclamation marks, and it's going to do sudo on your previous command. Nice little tip right there. copy everything in there. You know, if you want to change the title, you could put Cisco login and change whatever you want in there. Doesn't really matter. Control X, Y, enter, and then you're going to paste the CSS file into the same directory. Just make sure that the index.html's it's calling the CSS file in the correct directory. So make sure you keep the directory structure as you know, as it is. I don't know how to explain it. I could probably make a whole video about websites later on, but that's where you would put these style.css. Now, once you got that, you should be able to pop open a private browser and it will have that login page, which we have right over here, right there. So this is our login page, and great. So now we got that, but you can't really do anything with this. Like, you have this, it doesn't enter in anything. Like, you hit sign up, it doesn't do anything, which is fine. If you want to create something where it looks and feels a little bit more better, for lack of better terms, by all means, go for that. You can even change the favicon right there to be like the Cisco login. So like in our case, we have Cisco login. We could change the favicon so people checking on Shodan, searching by favicon, can go there. Anyways, I digress. So what we want to do next is we want to run a program called TCP dump. TCP dump is going to be natively installed on every single Debian-based operating system. So that includes Ubuntu and Kali. So all we're going to do, and pardon me, I am going to do history real quick. And I'm going to do this. TCP dump. All right. So what we are going to do is, this is the command we are going to type in. So we're going to do sudo TCP dump tac-i, and then the tac-i is the interface we want to listen on. So if we do if config, we will only have one interface. But if you have multiple interfaces, you could just select whichever interface you want to listen on. So in our case, it's ENS03. So TAC-S 65535. Don't ask me. You could check the man page what TAC-S does. I thought it was the ports it's going to be listening on, but I don't think that's what it is. And then TAC-W, and that's going to be the file you're going to write to. And this will allow us to capture all of the traffic it's detecting on the interface ENS3, and we could take that PCAP file and actually import it into Wireshark for further analysis. So I would normally just hit enter and let it run, but we want this to run for like a week. We want this to be something that we can click away from and then maybe have someone else that has access to our Linux box and OVH to take a look at. How do you do that? Well, I got the answer for you. There is this lovely command in Linux called screen. And this will allow us to have multiple sessions on the same box that will allow you to go back to later on, even if you click out of the session or even reboot your computer or log into your box from another computer, it will allow you to regain that session. Screen is amazing. I would highly recommend it for collaborative work, especially on pen testing if you have one jump host and such like that. And I will show you some basic commands with screen so you can do this at home and you're not confused about it, because to be honest, when I first learned about screen, it was pretty daunting, but now it's a walk in the park. So the only commands you really need to know are these. So if you want to create a screen session, we will type in screen tac capital S, and we're just going to give it a name. So we could put test 1, 2, 3. And if you hit enter, nothing should happen. It should just clear out, and that means you're in a screen session now. If you want to do a screen tac ls, it will show you all of the screens that you have running. So in this case, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different sessions on this box running at the same time. Now, let's say we're doing this, we are doing our command right here. So we're just going to do demo.pcap. We're listening on it now. Good to go. But let's say I want to go ahead and nmap some stuff. Well, all you got to do is hit Control AD, and that is going to detach you from that screen, which will allow you to reattach to another screen. So we will do screen, again, tac ls, and see which ones we have available. So we have test 1, 2, 3 and mass scan. Okay, let's go into the mass scan one. So it says we're detached, so we are going to do screen tac r _ r for reattach, and then we're just going to type in whichever one we want to connect to. So in our case, mass scan. Hit that, Now we're in that session. We could do mass scan, whatever, do that. Control AD. Now you're back. Do the same thing again. Oops. Control AD. Control AD. Screen LS. Like, okay, well, let's go into TCP dump. Go to that one. So screen is amazing. I could click out of this, go onto another computer, and go back to any of these. So I would highly recommend you run this in screen. Okay, so now that we got that, let's say after one whole week, we will go back into our screen session and test 1, 2, 3, tac R, and we will, go back in here. All you have to do is hit Control C, and it will kill the TCP dump listening session. So now if we do an LS, we have a demo.pcap file in our current working directory for some reason. First of all, let's go ahead and move this out of our current directory. So we're going to use the command move home Ubuntu. And then I think I might have let's see what we have. Ubuntu. Okay, so I think we just have that. So we'll move the, demo.pcap to that directory. Yes, we'll just do that. Sudo doop. Okay, so we moved it over there, so we got it out of our working directory where our website's facing. So we will do cd that, and it should be, right in here, demo.pcap. Okay, so now what do you do with this? You want to analyze this on Wireshark, but it's in here, like it's on the command line interface, and I have headless Linux on OVH. What can you do? Well, if you wanted to, you can try to, open up VNC or something, but no, that's too stupid. What we are going to do is we're going to learn another command today. I know I'm like overloading all of you with different commands, but this one's a very important one, especially in pen testing when you want to exfiltrate some files and stuff like that. The command is called SCP, Secure Copy. And we could go ahead and take a look at the man page for SCP, and all you got to do is type in man SCP, and it tells you all about the commands, all the different arguments, and all that stuff. So just hit space to go down, and then Q to exit. So cool stuff. Okay, so this is our OVH system, and we are going to open up, not Home Assistant, we are going to open up command prompt on our Windows machine. Yes, I said command prompt, and yes, I use Windows. Get over it. I like to edit my videos on it. So we're going to take files from our OVH system on the right, and we're going to transfer it to our Windows host at my house. Very easy. I'll show you how to do that. So from our Windows host, since it's behind a router, we're on a 192 address. We can't go from OVH to my house directly. We're going to have to make a request from our computer to OVH, and then it's going to download the file that way, if that kind of makes sense. Actually, that made no sense. So what I meant to say is we are going to be downloading from OVH. Now, SCP allows you to upload files and download files. So if I wanted to push something from my home computer to OVH, I can use SCP. But I cannot upload something from OVH to my private home address, 192.168 address. That just does not work like that. I might have confused you from that. But I'll show you. So on our desktop, we want to CD into whatever directory we want to download that file into. So in our case, desktop. So we're going to type in the command SCP, and then we're going to use the login that we would use to log into our OVH system. So in this case, it's Ubuntu. And then we are going to type in the IP address or host name of the system we're going to download from right there. And then we're going to specify the directory of the file or files that we want to download from. So if we're going to be recursively downloading a whole folder, in this SCP command, we're just going to go to the very front and then just do attack R for recursive. But since we're only downloading one file, we're not going to do that. Okay. So from our OVH system, we're just going to do pwd. So that's going to print out our current working directory. And then we're going to do an ls. So demo.pcap is in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy the directory that we want to download from. So do colon, and then we're going to do another slash and then type in demo.pcap. And that will allow us to download that file over here. Now what you do from here is we're going to type in a space, and we're going to specify the directory on our Windows system where we want to download it. Since we already CD'd into our desktop and that's where we want to download the file, all you're going to have to do is type in a period, hit enter, and it's going to ask you for your password. So you're going to enter in the password to your OVH system, not your Windows or Mac or whatever system, but your OVH system, and you're going to hit enter, and it's going to download the file. Now, if we go to our desktop folder and File Explorer, we will see that we should have a demo.pcap. There it is right there, demo.pcap. Now, obviously, we only ran that Wireshark file for like a minute, so it's not that big. But we do have a file here that's 8 megabytes in size, and then we have one that's 64 kilobytes in size. So what you can do from here is just open up in Wireshark, just double click it, and then it will give you everything that ENS03 or ENS3 or whatever interface that you captured. So the one thing you want to do right away is filter out any traffic that is originating from your home IP address. Because when you have an SSH connection to the system, it's going to show up on here. And we don't want to see that because, well, we know it's our traffic. So the way that Wireshark does stuff is through Boolean expressions. And they have different filters in there, which I'm sure there's some Wireshark guide online that you can use. But for us, we're just going to put in not, and then we're going to specify the IP address by ip.addr equals, and then you're going to put in whatever IP address you want to filter out. So in that case, we put that, and then all of the packets it has right here is not coming from my home IP address. Everything else is going to be from the internet. And as you can see, it's pretty damn loud. And I mean, you can see right here the packet number right there. So packet number 5 is coming from a random IP address. That's probably, I don't know, 3 seconds, 5 seconds after me starting TCP dump. I'm already getting whatever kind of connection, just a TCP connection from a random host. In this case, it looks like SMB or Samba, random. And then what we can do from there is we could just put in something like HTTP. And then from here, we can see the different HTTP requests coming from the internet. And you can see right here, there are some hosts out there that are trying to do a GET request for a directory for boa forum/admin/forum login, $username equals user and password equals user. Sometimes you'll see in here that people are doing wget requests from their own system. That's like a shell file or PS1 file or whatever it is that deletes your entire, does sudo rm/, it deletes your whole root directory. And it's basically ransomware, and it does a SCP stuff over from your host to their host. It's nasty stuff. And this is, I think I only ran this for like a couple hours, and you can see that I'm getting, these random GET requests. So anyways, that's that. So let's go ahead and talk about what we were discussing, or what I mentioned earlier about Tracelabs. And then, yeah, let's actually connect to this. This is the badge that we got from DEFCON 29, which, by the way, was really fun. I'm super happy I went this year, and I would hope next year I can meet some more of you. I only met one person this year from my channel. So we're, again, going to be using PuTTY to connect to our little thing right here. So if you have the DEFCON 29 badge, which I believe they will be selling online in October, so if you don't have one, you can still buy one. Your badge, if you click those two things, you actually have a USB type A to USB-C connector built in. So you want to go to your badge, and then let me go here. So you want to go to your badge and then go from battery. There's like a little drop right there, or not drop, a little switch. Click it over to USB. So you see human, and then there's like a little switch right there. Put that into USB. Now you're going to plug in the USB type C connector to the top, and then you're going to plug the other end into your computer. So we will do that right meow. So we connected that in, and we will go to PuTTY, and we are going to go to serial, and then we will have to find the COM, the serial line that it's connected to. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to go to Device Manager, and we are going to go here and go to ports, COM, and LPT. In this case, it's going to be COM3. So COM3, and then the speed, I believe, is 11,500, or I believe it's 11,500. I believe that's what it is. We're going to hit open. And then you hit enter, and now we're in our badge. So we have a couple things here. So it tells you some basic information, number of badges connected. So this is my girlfriend's badge. So she connected to 41 different badges. Badge types collected: human, goon, creator, speaker, artist, vendor, press. You have collected all the signal parts. Now you have the signal. You must share it with others. Connect at least 20 people who have not yet collected A11, the badge type. It's weird. DEFCON.org. Gotta catch them all. You've shared the signal 19 times. So Michaela actually just missed it out by 1. So anyone... Ooh, I unplugged it. Whoops. I unplugged it. We're going to go back here, and then we're just going to hit restart session. Invalid input. Great. Great. Do this. Unplug it. Plug it back in. And okay, so from here you can do things like change the LED colors or change the key map. So if you plug this in, you'll see that when you type in when you start hitting some of these buttons, they do certain things. They might mute your speakers and such. I believe this is touch sensitive over here. So this little bit, which I'll show you real quick, if you rub your hand up and down like this, I think that changes your volume. Yeah, so that little black part right there is sensitive to touch. And I believe there are some buttons within the badge, like in the cracks a little bit. I think those are buttons. But anyways, that's connecting to the badge. So with that, let's get back onto my main camera so we can talk about some Tracelabs stuff and then end this super long video. So yeah, sorry about that. That's a lot. We talked a lot there, and I promise this video is going to end soon and you can end your misery and all that. So with that, I want to do a very basic recap of the Tracelabs CTF that I did a couple weeks ago at DEFCON 29. So my team, Arco's squad, I think that's what her name was. I think we placed 24th place out of like 250 different teams. So pretty damn good, I would say. There are some lessons learned, but I just want to give everyone kind of an insight on how a Tracelabs CTF is like. So for those that don't know what Tracelabs is, it is a nonprofit that helps law enforcement to find missing people through the means of capture the flags. So at this DEFCON, basically what it was is you have teams of 4 people, and then I don't know how many teams they had, but teams of 4 people, and basically from there you are given 4 individuals that are actually missing in real life, and the whole goal is to find any sort of information you can find about them, some associates they might have, or their current location, and any entry you have gets submitted to a judge. So you're assigned a judge on your team, and they validate the information that you send in. So if you find someone's social media page, you send that in, they give you points, you move on, and it's pretty fun, I would say. I mean, you got to keep in mind that the stuff you're dealing with is pretty damn sad, but working as a team, which in my case, we had a team of 4 people plus my girlfriend since she was tagging along. So team of 5 people, I guess. And, there's a few things we could have done better, I would say. We split up 1 person to 2 people, and I think next time we should have 1 person to 1 person. So I'm focusing on one case, someone else is focusing on one case, and anytime we run across a roadblock or anything like that, we pull each other in as needed. But we did pretty good. We did 30-minute check-ins, and then we did hour check-ins just to see where everyone's at. Any roadblocks that any of us might have had. So if we're like doing really good on someone, we're getting a lot of good intel, and another you know, the other part of the team is just like not getting anything, we'll just bring them on board to gather as much info as we can. We have one person submitting and another person, you know, the other people trying to find info. So it's really fun. I would highly encourage anyone that is interested in getting some hands-on OSINT experience to participate in a Tracelabs event. And even if you don't get first place, which we didn't, at the end of the day, you are doing something really, you know, commendable. You know, you do get like an electronic badge proving that you were a participant in the Tracelabs CTF, and it's something you can put on your resume. Like if you want to do stuff that's intelligence related, I can't think of a better way to get some free experience, meaning that it's not like some BS internship. You're doing this, you're having fun, you're, you know, collaborating with people, and you're helping families get some closure into their life. So check out tracelabs.org if you want to participate more into that. So with that, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button with the bell notification enabled so you can get notified anytime I post a video, which has not been as frequent as I like. But I'm going to be doing some war driving. I haven't made a video on that in like 2 years, so we're going to go war driving again. And I'm going to show you my current setup and how you could go war driving at home and participate in the DEFCON 30 Worldwide War Driving CTF. So that's it. Check out my Discord down below. OnlyFans did have a little thing happening. Luckily, the content I post onto my OnlyFans does not fit into the category of whatever's being banned from them. So if you want to help out the channel, just, you know, send a tip over. You know, I have an OnlyFans. I will get YouTube, the tip system with YouTube set up eventually. So yeah, anyways, y'all take care. Goodbye.